I've got internet. And I do have internet because it says that we're live now. Good morning. Oh, good afternoon, girls. How are you? Anita here from Sequins and Sand. We've only just gone online live, so I know it takes a little while to get the girls to click in. On my left, your screen on the right, I don't know, I get mixed up, is the lovely Fiona Redding. Welcome, Fiona.
Hello, Anita. Lovely to see you again.
I know, this is becoming a bit of a habit, This is like,
isn't it, though?
It's a lovely habit to have. I'm really enjoying it. I hope you are too.
Yeah, it's good.
So today, ladies, we are going to be talking creating space, physical space. Now, we don't mean you take a sledgehammer to your house and you go for it. That's not what we're talking about. But we are talking about ways in which you can create clarity and calm in your mind. And this is the last of a 3-part series that Fiona and I have put together for you. It all started, just a little bit of a wind back as to how this all started. A couple of months ago, I'm just going to delete this comment. There we go. All good. So we get these strangers coming on YouTube and they're not welcome. So they're not welcome in my space and your space. So anyway, all taken care of. Anyway, we have created a 3-part series all around creating space. And a lot of that was because Fiona said, Anita, look, lockdown in Melbourne, really, really hard time. And we're going to be transitioning out. How do we help people cope with all the pressures of the pandemic? And also as they transition out, are there things that we can do together? So we had a bit of a chat, came up with creating space. And that's why we've been reaching out to you over the last probably 6 weeks or so now.
Yeah, maybe about that. Yeah, maybe 2 months, 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, and you've been loving it. We've been getting some lovely positive feedback about it all. So thank you. Today, Fiona is back to talk about creating space from a physical point of view. But before we get into that, Fiona, can you just tell the girls quickly about what you do at the Happiness Hunter? Because some of them might not have come in at the beginning. They might just be joining us for today's live.
I sure can. So obviously I'm Fiona and I'm the founder of the Happiness Hunter, and I am a mindset and meditation coach. And like my kind of thing that I really love focusing on is really helping us be our best selves, like balanced within ourselves, mind, body, soul, balanced, so that we can show up best in every other area of our lives. And I've got a real interest in supporting women in business as well. So senior leaders and women who run their own businesses. But really, the whole idea of the Happiness Hunter is about helping us, teaching us, equipping us to live happy lives, to be happy people living happy, productive, useful lives, really.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Love that. And so much so, like, so many have been through very tough times. And I know that's your origin as well. That's a place that you've come from to create your world. And now you do it for others. And I know you do a brilliant job. So thank you.
Well, what do they say, Anita? We teach what we most needed to learn. So yeah. I really feel like that's what I do with my life, is really helping people overcome the challenges, or teaching a way to overcome the natural ebbs and flows of life. Like life is a series of obstacles and challenges to be overcome. And I think having a way to do that, that's what I work with people around.
That's beautiful. And women in midlife, right? This is another reason why we've connected. We know that it's a critical time. It's a critical pivotal point. A pandemic and other things aside in life, this is a critical pivotal point where a lot of women are sitting back going, okay, I'm halfway through, if all goes well, I'm halfway through. And I want to live, the rest of my life as best I can, as happily as I can, and in good health. But with that enormous change that comes at this time of their life, kids have left, some kids are leaving home, or they've, transitioning out of work themselves, or they might be looking for a change in work. There's these big chunks of change that are going on, and women are going, well, in all of that, now that I've got a bit more space, or I'm making more time and space for me, who the hell am I? And what do I want? It's this whole identity question.
And I just on that as well, I think a lot of the time too, it's easy for us to kind of go, what the hell has just happened here? Like, how did I get to here?
To this point,
and it's a really, that's a big question to be asking. And it's okay if you are asking yourself that question, because you can actually reimagine what your identity is really. Like, it doesn't have to be just because you have been that, doesn't mean that's necessarily what you need to be moving forward either.
No, and it's exciting. It's scary and exciting. It's a great time for reinvention, you know. So all of this creating space in our minds is a great foundation for being able to equip ourselves to think about what we want and to become that person. So I think it's exciting as well as scary, as often the good stuff is.
Yeah.
So today, sorry?
No, just that feeling of like you're in your comfort zone almost, in a way. It's like, I'm not comfortable here anymore, but I've got to take that step outside of here, and that's a bit uncomfortable as well. And I'm uncomfortable here, but the idea of going there is a bit uncomfortable as well. So it's that kind of transition stage. It's very exciting.
Very exciting. But we know the gold lies on the other side, don't we? So
no, the gold actually lies on the way through.
On the way through. True. Oh, I like that. I must remember that. Yes, true.
There is no other side, Nita. There is no other side.
There is no other side. Oh,
true. It's just where you are.
Now you've given me a lot to think about. Girls, this is raw and real, this conversation. None of it's pre-thought out to the nth degree. We know roughly, but all the dots are being joined and the conversation is raw and real. So yes.
Anita, these are the best conversations.
Yeah, they are. They're awesome. So, and speaking of awesome conversations, we're going to talk about creating space, but from a physical point of view. So what do we mean by that in the context of today's chat, and why is it so important, Fiona?
Okay, so we've talked about the other sessions around that creating that mental space. So like creating that breathing room for us in our head by becoming a bit more aware of the way we're thinking, becoming much more aware of our emotional state. So we're not completely consumed by our thoughts, and we're not just being kind of controlled by our emotions as well. So being so emotionally reactive all the time. So what we want to do today is actually extend that premise or that philosophy to our external physical world, and actually look at the world around us and determine, like, how cluttered is that? How full of it is it? What stuff have we got hanging around that isn't actually adding any value? It's just kind of heavy and weighing us down and making us feel a bit stuck in the past, or a bit like attached to things, or just completely overwhelmed when you look at things. And when we're talking about like physical space, we can talk about this from so many different perspectives. So you can think about the clothes in your wardrobe. You can think about the food in your cupboards. You think about your towel cupboards, your linen cupboards. You could think about down in the garage. You could think about the glove box of your car. You could think about your bedside table. You could just think about your bookshelf and all those books that you haven't read for 30 years that are just sitting in your bookshelf taking up space that you're still having to dust. We can think about other things like photos that we might be holding on to, or, old letters, or stuff from the kids from when they were little, or kids' toys, or old furniture that you kind of don't want to get rid of, but it's sort of not really using anymore, or it might be just out in the back porch because we, haven't got rid of it yet, but it's just taking up space. Or we could think about things from like a digital perspective. So, like apps on your phone that you just got to scroll through 5 pages to kind of get anywhere. The mental energy that kind of thing takes up. Clearing out your inbox, photos that might be on your phone or on your computer that are it's just a chaotic mess, and you can't find anything, files or documents on your computer that are, kind of taking up space. So we can think about like a physical and a digital sort of at the same time, like that world. But if you just think for a minute how much stuff we have and how much space it's taking, and how much time we've got to spend stepping over things or moving things to get to things, or looking at clothes in our cupboard that don't fit us anymore and are never going to fit us again, or they're out of fashion or whatever. Think about all of the space that is taking. And if we think about everything as being energy, we've just got blocks of blocked energy almost in a way all around us. You know, the state of your desk, the state of the front of your fridge. Like, think about it. Like, how many spaces have you got in your, as you could probably name 10 or 20 just off the top of your head as I'm speaking to you, that you just think, oh my gosh, there's crap there. It's crap. I never use it. It offers no value. It's taking up space. It's of no use to me. It's keeping me stuck in the past. It's something I've got to do, and I just, you know, haven't gotten around to it yet. How much energy, mental energy, physical energy, time energy is it taking you to kind of have to wade through that to get to what you want to be doing or where you want to go? Or what is it actually blocking you from?
And there's so much that comes to mind as you're talking about that. So why do we have so much stuff around us? So we're obviously from a society that values consumerism, and that's thrown at us every minute of the day. But why do we choose to have a lot of stuff around us? Is there some psychology around all of that as well?
Well, I think for each of us, that's going to be different reason. Like, we all do things for our own reasons, like what makes sense to us in the way we perceive the world in our program. But often we'll hold on to stuff or buy stuff or get stuff that makes us feel better.
And it's almost that instant gratification.
Yep. And then more. Like, you think about how many pairs of shoes have you got that you actually wear? How many things have you got that you actually use? And why do you need another one of them? I mean, that's a bigger question for another day, but we have so much stuff, and the stuff doesn't make us happy. Having things around us doesn't make us happy. It might make us feel on the face of it secure, but that stuff doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't bring joy.
Yeah, we bring meaning to it. And so what happens when we can start to get rid of stuff, like we can declutter, we can clean up, we can do whatever, as we start to get things moving, like let go of things and get things moving, what it does, it creates space. And it's almost like it creates a vacuum, and new things come in to fill that space. So, for example, like when I'm like setting goals or something like that, like I'll set myself a goal and I'll go, right, this is my goal, and I'll do something to kind of cement that action. So I'm looking for a new place at the moment. So I'll go, this is the sort of place I want. This is approximately what I'm looking for. I'll set up alerts or whatever. I'll get those places and I'll go check them out. I'll go, I like this, don't like that. So I'll do my shopping list, but I'm actually in the place starting to do it. But then I've got to create a space for this new thing that I'm asking for to come in. It's got to be space for it to land in. If I've completely got my physical everything space already full with everything, there's no space for something to land. So I've got to go, as part of my process, is it right? Well, I need to clear up. I need to clean out. I need to take some intentional action to create some space. So I'll then go through a process of decluttering, getting rid of stuff excitedly, going, and wishing it off with absolute love. Like, do I need to keep this? Is it rubbish? Could it be a benefit to somebody else? Could I sell it? And often what I'll do with stuff that I'm getting rid of, I like giving it away. That feels right for me. I don't think, I want to sell it. I don't have to list it on the marketplace or anything like that. That's my personal choice. I like giving it away. That makes me feel really good.
Yeah, me too. Being a military wife of over 30 years, where my husband's retired now, but we had 13 moves, right? So the one good thing about that was each and every time we moved, we got an opportunity to move some of the stuff. I had a rule: if I hadn't used it in 12 months, it was moved off to somebody else, and it was given away for the same reason you said, because I like the notion somebody else will value it, and then that value will be transferred on to somebody else. So it's nice to know that they will have that other life. But yes, it was a way of, I guess, giving too. But it taught me so much about what I did value. And it's interesting, right? So it is a very personal choice. So my husband, for example, I hope he doesn't mind me talking about him, probably doesn't even know, but books, right?
Yeah.
That was the single bone of contention when we moved. We would have like 20, 30 boxes of books that were always with us. And I'd say, honey, are you sure you need all these books? Yep. There was this emotional attachment to his books that he could not let go of. And, that's fine. When he's ready, he'll let go of it. But that brings me to a point about, we feel the need to hang on to certain things. There's an emotional attachment, obviously, to some things. But what is there some kind of something that goes on in our minds by having a physical space that's clearer? Does that translate to a clearer mind in some way? Like how, or is that just a notion, if you like?
Well, so, as we've talked about, our outer world is the reflection of our inner world. So when my outer world is clean and clear and there's space and I feel like it's organized and I'm not feeling overwhelmed by physical stuff in my physical environment, what does that say about my inner world? So my inner world is all, I know, like my kids know now, I'm just like, guys, the house is a mess. I need to sort the house out and please don't bother me until it's done, because if you're going to keep coming at me with stuff and I'm going to kind of get a bit overwhelmed and a bit stressed. So let's just get the place sorted first and then we'll come back to it. That's what works for me, because if my physical environment is messy and cluttered, I feel messy and cluttered. And as soon as it's cleared, it's like something opens up again in me. And I feel like, okay, cool, right, I'm on top of it. I feel better. Now what am I doing? What am I coming at from now from this new, clearer perspective? So I think there is a lot to be said. They said that Albert Einstein had a very very messy desk. But I think for most of us, like if you think about when you work best, it's generally when there's a bit of order to what you're doing.
I work in piles. So if you were to look at my desk, I have piles of things, but I don't know what's in every pile, but that's kind of, that suits me, right? If I have something completely pristine, I don't know that I would feel as comfortable in that environment. So I guess for each of us, it's finding that balance. But what we're here today to suggest is that if you are in a state of overwhelm for whatever reason, perhaps looking at your physical environment as well is something you could do to help with that overwhelm. Yeah, one of the things you could do.
So like, say, for example, you go to your cupboard and there's just clothes in there and you know that there's clothes there that don't fit you or the clothes that you don't wear anymore, just get rid of them. Like, don't keep opening the cupboard and feeling overwhelmed by not knowing what to choose, or I've got nothing to wear, but I've got lots of stuff, but none of it fits me anymore, or they don't feel it doesn't feel comfortable anymore, or whatever. Just you can let that stuff go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, at this time in our lives, for many of the girls who are tuned in to today, who are part of our worlds, we're talking about that transition point, midlife, and a lot of women will be downsizing at this time in their lives too. They've had the bigger home because they've had more bods in it and needed that extra space. But now they might be finding that it's just them and their partner or just themselves, and now they don't need as much space. So then it's that whole exercise through a lifestyle change that might force our hands as well.
And what do you want and what works for you? Just because this is what you've currently got, is this still what you want moving forward? Like, I know when I moved into this place, I had furniture, it was all quite dark. It'd been over the years, I'd just accumulated various bits of furniture. People have been so generous and stuff and given me stuff. We moved into this place, it's really light. It's an apartment, it's not massive inside. And the furniture just did not go. Like, it just didn't go. It was too dark. It was too, like, kind of heavy. And so I just went and gave most of it away. I actually somebody sent me a picture of this cabinet that she'd refurbished and stuff. And I just thought, oh, how wonderful that had, because so much of this stuff had been lovingly given to me. It was so nice to lovingly passed on. And I actually went and got stuff that fitted this environment, but I wasn't scared to let go of the stuff first. No, it's okay. I'm willing to let this stuff go because I need to create the space and the vacuum for the new to come in. So it's like we don't have to wait for the next thing to be here to let stuff go. It's like the idea of this is letting stuff go first, practicing that art of letting go in your physical environment. Remember, it's all connected, mind, body, spirit, everything, we're all connected. So if we're able to practice that letting go and feeling what that feels like with our physical environment, that's going to help us let go of the mental and the emotional attachments that we have within us as well to those things. So it does take a little bit of courage. It takes a little bit of courage.
And like we've often talked about, it's time to decide, right? You make that decision and then you move forward from that point of decision. Time to decide. So do you have some tips to share with the girls as to, if they know that it's time for them to reduce the overwhelm by decluttering, where do they start? What's a good way to work through that, do you think, Fiona?
Oh, okay. So just as you were talking, there's two kind of things there that I've two bits of advice I've got. One is just start small. Like this is the first bit of advice I give to anybody when they declutter. And decluttering can be quite addictive. And as a way of getting things moving in your life, like it is probably one of the major techniques that I will use when I really want to get things moving. I will literally declutter like a mofo, like go as hard as I can on something, declutter till it hurts. And that's kind of when I kind of go, oh, now that's kind of opened something up. The first thing you need to do is just pick one thing that is absolutely driving you crazy, like a job that will maybe take 20 minutes, like the second drawer or your bedside table or your bathroom cabinet or something in the kitchen or something in the car or just your inbox or inbox is actually a big one, because if your inbox is out of control, that's not just a small job. There's a kind of a technique that you can use with that. But like maybe a filing tray or something like that, that you know that if I can just do this one thing, I'm going to feel like I've really accomplished something. And what that does when you've just done one little thing like that, you kind of get the taste for it, but you haven't set yourself this massive task that is going to take 10 days to do. It's like, I'm just going to choose one thing today that's going to take me, let's say 20 minutes, thereabouts. Maybe take a little bit longer, maybe take a little bit less. But I'm going to do that one thing that I keep every time I open that drawer, it does my head in. I'm just going to fix it right now. I'm going to fix it. But the other thing is also the other piece of advice with this as well is that if it is a bit overwhelming for you, like this idea of decluttering, they actually have people who are decluttering experts, like life organizers, home and life business organizers and stuff. So you could look at actually getting in it's not as expensive as you think it's going to be. Getting in one of these professional organizers to come and help you work through your stuff, because the thing is not the thing. Like your stuff, you think it's just stuff, but then when you try to get rid of it, it's not just stuff. So being okay with that fact as well, like you're holding on to this stuff for a reason, and accepting that and being really kind and compassionate to yourself with that. So just if this is something that you kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've got stuff everywhere, like I've had enough of the stuff everywhere, just start really small and accomplish that task and finish it today. That's going to kind of give you the muscle to move forward, to continue on with that.
Yeah, awesome. Start small, as with most major change. Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
1%, just that little incremental shift, little shift, and then it kind of off it goes.
It's that cumulative effect, that compounding effect. And like you say, it could become quite addictive, where you go, okay, once a week, I'm going to chip away and go to another part of the house that I've been meaning to get to, and just do this as a habit almost, just a regular thing.
I think what too happens with that, like I've been subscribing to this kind of way of being for years now, and I'm telling you, there is always more stuff that you haven't realised that there's kind of clutter there. Like it's just clutter. And I'll give you an example. I've just got my CRM, like my database for my business, and I've kind of not properly utilized that over the years. And I've been doing lots of other work around lots of other things. And as I said, I've set this massive goal, and it's like we want to be taking inspired action. So we want to kind of get an idea to do something, and it's like, I'm just going to do that. And I've got this idea. Why don't you just sit down and start to go through your database? Now, I've been at it now for about 24 hours. I'm not joking, not in a row, but like over the weekend and yesterday and a bit today and stuff. Like it's been a very, very massive job. But I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels like this, it's clean and it's decluttered, and it feels like it's really, there's all this space there now. And now it's like, okay, well, my next step that I need to take in my dream of manifesting my new home is this. And what starts to happen as we're moving towards something and we're taking this action of getting rid of stuff, and it's inspired action, we're creating the space for the new, whatever it is, to come in. But we just have to start small and just go with, okay, I'm going to declutter something. What's the thing? Boom. First thing that comes into my head, I'm going to go and do it. Not overthinking it, just going and doing it, and then go, oh, this is actually really hard for me to let go of. This is interesting. Let me explore this a little bit. Let me grab my journal, whatever. So all of these practices work together. None of them work in isolation.
I love that. That is absolute gold. I think there is so much about, and hello, Joe lives in Darwin. It's bloody hot up there at the moment, I'm sure. And Joe, you're the master of this, Joe. So I'd be interested to see what you have to say. But she said it's very addictive. Life is so much simpler when you don't have stuff. And that is so true. Simpler physically, but also mentally and emotionally.
And so what we want to do with that as well is like the stuff in and of itself is not bad, but we want to be really discerning about the stuff that we have in our environment. And we want to be stuff. And, you know, Marie Kondo talks about this in her book, The Magical Art of Tidying Up, I think it is. You know, we want to have stuff that brings us joy in our environment. So, you know, your piles bring you joy. They make you feel good. They're not cluttered. They're not as, that might not work for me or someone else, but it works for you. It brings you joy. It doesn't bring you disharmony looking at those things. So we want to be looking at our physical environment as everything around us is harmonious.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, this is something that's just dawned on me too. I'm just writing the words down with intention. Yeah. So, you know, this is another part of our lives where we should be purposeful and with intent. So with intention, what do I want? What do I want to create for myself? And what do I need to let go of to welcome in the new with intention? Like there is something I've actually thought about. I'm not just waiting for it to come and land on me. I'm going to make this happen for me.
I am the creator of my own reality. What do I want that reality to be like? And so, you know, when I was looking at my house and I was going, this furniture doesn't fit. It's not that this furniture is not nice. It's not that this furniture isn't good. It's not that this furniture, I'm not grateful for this furniture. It literally does not fit in this space. It's too big. It's the wrong shape. It's too dark because there was all this natural light and there was just this dark furniture. It's like, it just doesn't fit. And I don't want to have to try and make this stuff fit. I want to get the stuff that works in this environment and allowing myself to do that and not just going, well, I've got this perfectly good table and chairs. I just, you know, have it. It's like, but it doesn't work for me in this environment. And it's okay for me to want something different, but I'm going to have to let this stuff go for the new stuff to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joanne's just said she's talking about, you know, attaching things to memory, which for many of us, that's what happens, you know, oh, look, there's a photo of when we did blah, 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 like memory joggers. But we don't need the stuff to keep the memories. No, that's very true.
Yeah, it's like we attach, if I let this go, then I'm, you know, not honoring my mother's memory or something like that. Like that's not true. That's not true. And then when you go, somebody else is going to have to get rid of that stuff anyway. Like it's just like, why? It's not saying you can't keep stuff, by the way, but it's really going like, why am I keeping this?
Yeah.
And also too, the wonderful with this stuff as well, like kind of as it's a process that you go through. So you'll go through a box and you'll get rid of stuff and then you come back and then you'll get a bit more stuff and then you come back another, you know, a few months later, a year later and get rid of a bit more stuff. So it's like you know, a process a step-by-step process a little bit with that as well. So it's very exciting and it is totally addictive. And once you start this stuff moving, you're moving. It's an action that you can take that is about movement. So even though you might feel very stuck, whenever I feel stuck, I'm like, right, clean, or I need to declutter, or I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to go out for a walk. I need to do something to get things moving. Decluttering is a really good way, or creating space in your physical environment is an incredibly good way to get things moving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find I get the vacuum cleaner out when I'm really stressed.
And how much better do you feel though?
Pardon?
How much better do you feel when you've got clean carpet? Like it's crazy how much better it makes you feel.
Yeah, I know. It's a simple stuff, right? We're not talking about rocket science here. No. We're just talking about with intention, creating space to welcome in something new that you really want, that you're creating your future for. Yeah.
But it's like if we've got the old mucky water here, fresh water is not going to come on top of that and be fresh. Fresh water is going to come on top of that and become mucky. So we need to get rid of the muck so the fresh water can flow. That's almost in a way what it is. That's the way I think about it. And of course, if that's the way I think about it, then that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
I'm the creator of my own reality.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Oh, how many more of these can we have, Fiona? I feel we've got a whole honestly, just one things.
It never ends. There's always something new to learn. There's always something new to do. Like it never ends. And I think that's what I find so exciting and invigorating about doing this work is that it doesn't end. It's not like, oh, this is the steps and that's the end. It's like, oh, here's the steps, but here's something else to think about. What about this?
Yeah. It's that exciting journey. There's that word again, but it is all about that. And you're so true. The gold is as we go through. It's not necessarily on the side. So Joe said, I find creating physical space frees space in my mind for me. Yes, absolutely. That is the nugget right there.
Yeah.
That is what we're talking about today, freeing up physical space to create that mental space as well for your intentional life. Absolutely, Joe.
And I think you can really see this physical space, and if you think about it as being a symbolic act, that's actually the best way to think about it. This is symbolizing. It's not about I'm going to do this for this to happen. It's like this symbolic act. I'm taking a very intentional symbolic act to create space now for something else to happen. So what can I do? There's no rules about what it is that I have to get rid of or have to keep or whatever. That's my personal thing. But what feels true for me right now, I'm just going to focus on that thing. That's it.
That's it. And on that note, I reckon that's the best way to leave it. That's a really good, So girls, if you've got any more comments, thanks for all of yours, Joe, piping in today. If you've got some more, if you've got some questions, put them in the feed, because if you're watching the recording, thank you so much for tuning in. I know that when we go live, it's not the right time for everybody, but I think that if you got your feet up and you're watching the recording, make some notes down. You know, I've got a page of notes there. There's a lot of goodness in what Fiona said, a lot of tips and ways to move this forward. And if any questions come up as you're working through that and listening to the recording, put them in the feed, because they stay there just like the video does in the feed in Facebook and on YouTube, and we can come in and comment and answer your questions at any time, which we would love to do. So thank you, Fiona. So girls, you can catch what Fiona does at The Happiness Hunter, thehappinesshunter.com.au.
Just .com, thehappinesshunter.com.
Happinesshunter.com. And I'm sure that we will see more of Fiona in Sequins and Sandland going forward as well, because there's so much goodness to talk about.
Yeah, well, thanks again for the opportunity, Anita. It's been really lovely to connect with you over the last few sessions. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and thanks everyone for watching as well.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, and thank you for all of your knowledge. And I just love your sincerity, Fiona. I know what we see is what we get, and I really appreciate that in you as well. I'm very grateful for your knowledge and wisdom and genuine care. Like, it's awesome. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Anita. Thank you. Thank you.
All the best with your decluttering in your database.
Yeah, thank you. See ya.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.